Imagine you're holding a fresh new book in your hands and you're so excited to dive in. The front page is brand new, it's barely touched, and the pages are crisp and smooth, and you've got that new ink smell. The amount of knowledge in this one book is going to be worth its weight in gold to your business and your life. You just know it. And as you begin reading the words, they just ebb and flow. They have a musical flow and they create a dynamic picture in your head. You're so engrossed in the story. The flow is taking you on a journey through the mind of the author. And from the outside looking in, based on this smooth final product, it might seem like the author had it all figured out all along. You might have the impression that the words came naturally and that the book was just written almost like it was divinely inspired in just a few sittings. That's completely wrong. I can almost guarantee you, for every book that's out there, that whole process of writing is an emotional journey. And if they don't understand, if the author doesn't understand that they're on an emotional journey while they're writing a book, it can stop them dead in their tracks. Sometimes it can delay that book by months or years, or sometimes that book won't ever get out into the world at all because of these emotional steps and hurdles and obstacles that every single author comes up against. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to bypass the most common obstacles that authors bump up against. So this emotional journey, what's going to happen along the way? You're going to be writing along, everything's going to be going great, and then you're going to slam into a wall and you're not going to know what happened. And what happens is there's different phases of writing a book, and there's different emotions that go along with it, and there's different feelings, and there's different things that happen at each stage. And the only reason that I know about these stages, it's not really taught anywhere, it's not really taught in a lot of books or courses on writing, but I've just watched writers over like the last 20 or 30 years, including myself, especially myself, go through these things every single time. I've released books recently within the last year where I still run up against these things. And it's just part of our psyche. It's just part of what we do as writers or as business people who want to become authors. It's not anything that's wrong or bad. We just have to learn to recognize the phase, recognize the obstacle, and know or have a strategy for overcoming that obstacle so that it doesn't keep you stuck. Because when you get stuck as an author, what happens is, oh man, this is really hard. I'm gonna just put it away for the rest of the night and I'll get back to it tomorrow. And a week goes by and a couple more weeks go by and you pull it out and you're like, oh, now I need to start over again because I don't even remember where I was. And you go back to writing and it's like, my business is blowing up. I need to go do something over here, and you put it away for a couple more months. It's so easy to put a book on the back burner. It's so easy to just forget about it, because when you're stuck and you don't have a strategy for getting out unstuck, what are you gonna do? You're gonna put it away. All right, so let's talk about the different phases. The first one I call the honeymoon phase. You're so excited and you're just writing away, like, I'm gonna write a book and I have this great idea and it's gonna help people and they're gonna come buy all my products and services. And you're so enthusiastic and you're so excited that you just start writing. And you write 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 and you keep going. And maybe you write an entire 100,000 words, but you don't have a solid plan for what you want to say or how you want to lead the people on a journey to actually want to buy your products and services. And you're just sort of writing out of your head, and you're writing just all kinds of things that may be really great points. They may be really great strategies or success stories or whatever, but they don't really have any kind of structure or framework. There's no plan for the book. And that's a real problem. That can really stop you, because you'll feel like you're getting momentum and you're making progress and you're like writing away and you're so excited, but then you read it or you give it to somebody else to read and they're like, I don't get it. Or you read it and you're like, oh, this is so much, this isn't what I want to say at all. Or this is all great stuff, but it's not really leading anywhere. And I want you to get out of the enthusiasm. I want you to be enthusiastic, but I want you to be enthusiastic with a roadmap, with a plan, with a way for you to get through that book so that you can actually impact people's lives. So there's going to be a honeymoon phase. What happens after a honeymoon phase, right? Things kind of slow down. Things get, okay, I'm into the flow. Day in, day out, everything's kind of the same. After that initial enthusiasm wears off, you can start to feel like it's getting into a little bit of a slog, right? You've got a lot of work to do. You realize that this writing thing maybe is a little more work than you thought it might be. So there's a next phase and a next obstacle that happens, which is what I call the first 3 chapters. And it might be the first 3 pages, But for me, it's always the first 3 chapters. And so when I'm writing a book and I have a good plan and I know what I'm doing and I know where the structure is going to go and I know how it's going to work, the first 3 chapters, the temptation is for you to go, oh, these need to be perfect. This is the first thing that the reader is going to see, and it really needs to hit all of these points, and it's got to be perfect. And so what happens is we get stuck in editing the first 3 chapters over and over and over again. When I was writing my very first book, which was a fiction book, it never got published, so don't go look for it. It was awful, but it was a book. It took me 16 years to write. You know why? Because I wrote the first 3 chapters for 14 of those years. It was ridiculous, but I kept writing the first 3 chapters, and then I would get busy and I'd put it on the back burner. What would happen? I'd pull it back out again and I'd be like, ugh, this is terrible. Let me redo the whole thing. And I'd write it again and again and again, and I'd go back to the world building. It was a fantasy novel, so we had, you had all kinds of different animals and different political systems, and when you're world building in a fiction story, you get to play around with stuff that has nothing to do with the story. So it took forever for me to realize maybe I should write chapter 4, So that happens with nonfiction writing as well. Eventually you've got to get to the point where you realize this is a first draft. It doesn't have to be perfect. When you over edit and you find yourself going back over things and over things and over things, maybe it's just a paragraph and you just keep writing it and rewriting it and changing things around, you realize that you're in a loop. You're stuck in a loop in your head, and you just need to stop the loop and keep going. My best advice for that particular hurdle is just to write straight through. If you're tempted to go back and edit, don't do it. You're going to have plenty of opportunity to edit later. You can edit to your heart's content. You can go back and forth with an actual professional editor if you want. There's so many things that you can do later. But you got to get it first. You've got to get that whole book written. So once you're over that, great, you wrote a first draft. The feeling there, that emotional journey is, yes, I'm done. I wrote a book. This is awesome. Oh my gosh, I wrote the whole book. I'm done. No, you're not done. You're not done. You're not done. Please don't go self-publish your first draft. I'm begging you. Don't do it. What did I just say? Editing. Yes. Now is the time when you get to edit. Now is the time when you get to rejoice and celebrate that you wrote a book. That's fantastic. Yes. Open some champagne. Great. Then I want you to put away the manuscript for 2 weeks. Not 4 weeks, not 2 days, 2 weeks. Don't open it again, because those words need to get to know each other. They need to marinate a little bit. They need to decide if they like each other, and you need a break. So you take a break during those 2 weeks and you spend some time talking to your audience. Maybe you spend some time thinking up a launch strategy. Maybe you go out and you do some social media posts about your book. You can still be working on your book while the manuscript is resting. Once it's rested, you're going to pull it out and start the editing process. And you're going to have a much more centered emotional state around your book. You're not going to be exhausted at that point. So you're not going to feel like, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm done. I don't need to look at it ever again. I can just put it on Amazon and it'll be good. You don't want to do that, because you're going to really shortchange yourself on all of the amazing things that you can do when you edit it through again, and when you let beta readers look at it, and when you have a professional editor take a look at it and actually really help you craft that book. You want this book to be around for 20 years or 50 years. You want people to be accessing that information and using it to help them in their lives for long after you're gone. So don't shortchange them, and don't shortchange yourself. Make sure that when you're done with that first draft, you know that you've got a long way to go still. So what's the next hurdle? The next hurdle is when you get up against the launch date, when you've got your book published, you're ready to go. Maybe it's already available on Kindle. Maybe you've got some copies stashed in a warehouse someplace, or maybe you're just almost ready. Right before that is when the hurdle happens. When you're almost ready to launch, you've already had an editor look at it, your publisher's ready to go, and you start saying, crap, let me second guess everything I've ever written. That happens every single time, including to myself. The authors will start second guessing themselves. They'll second guess the title. They'll second guess the images that are inside that explain certain concepts. They'll second guess their dedication. Maybe I shouldn't have dedicated it to my mom. Maybe I should have dedicated it to my kids. The brain will do anything to keep that book back to where it's safe. It's safe before it gets launched because nobody's really judging it yet. It's not out there in the world. And so what happens is we second guess, we start rewriting, we're like, oh, wait a minute, I just want to add one more thing, or I want to add some extra URLs, or I want to do this or that. Don't do that. Make sure you have professionals that you trust looking over all of your manuscript. Do the editing, do your due diligence, make sure you have everything the way you want it, and then understand and recognize that as soon as you start second guessing yourself, you're probably in this phase. And that really is going to be okay, and you should just let it go. Trust your publisher, trust the people that you're working with. When they say it's ready to go, let it go. It's okay. So the most important thing you need to get through this author's journey, this emotional journey of the highs and the lows, and the, I love my book and oh my God, I hate this book, because you're going to have both. You're going to have highs and lows. You're going to run into obstacles. You're going to be excited and you're going to be frustrated. You need to have people on your team who are willing to help you. People on your team who can help you work through the hurdles, help you when you lose confidence, help bring you up when you're too low, help bring you down when maybe you're too excited and you're not really following the plan. Maybe you want to do something prematurely. So make sure that you have people you trust. Maybe it's family members or friends. Hopefully you have some professional book people on your team. Maybe it's a publisher, maybe it's a writer, maybe it's a book coach. Whatever you have, make sure you lean on them and tell them, I know that I'm going to hit highs and lows. I know I'm going to hit emotional blocks, and I know that they're just inside of me, and I need you guys to help me not let that stop me. Have people who will ask you about your book, who will keep you accountable to moving forward, because we don't want your book to die on a hard drive somewhere and never see the light of day. That would be such a waste of your expertise and the possibilities that can happen when you have a book out in the world. So part of the writing process is having that solid mindset going into the project. And knowing what to expect, knowing that you're going to have ups and downs, knowing that you're going to have emotional blocks that you need to get through, and then having the help to help get you past the rough parts. So if you're ready to conquer those hurdles and get that book done, I have some resources for you. Just click the link below to download my free one-page book planner that'll get you through that first stage of that honeymoon phase, and I'll help you get started right now.